Hey guys, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylint, and I really like fighting games. I like them a lot. Now, generally, I'm more of a fan of like MOBAs or team-based games, but fighters are still really cool. I love the interaction of different characters, different move sets, and combos and stuff like that. And I do like mechanically intensive play. I truly, honestly do. But in my opinion, I kind of wish that more fighting games were a little bit more original, but that's a whole nother video. Today we're talking about specifically fighting games on the platform PC, on personal computers. Now, generally, these are on Steam. In fact, I think all of them are pretty much on Steam. Now, you can actually play some fighting games for free. You got to go and get Dolphin, and you can play, I think, Melee, Smash Bros. Melee for free. I mean, I don't know the legality of that, but yeah, you can play online for free, so that's cool. But for the most part, a lot of games, or most of them, almost all of them, 99% of the fighting games that get ported over are going to be on Steam. So yeah, they get a lot of visibility. They really do. A lot of the times they're plastered right on the front page as soon as they come out. I know Dragon Ball Xenoverse did. I know the Naruto Shippuden series did. We also got Guilty Gear, Xrd, Revelator, or some bullshit. So we get all the different kind of fighting games now this year, and I think it kind of started last year, but really this past year, 2016, we've gotten a lot of fighting games for PC. I think the only super big one that is kind of somewhat popular is going to be Killer Instinct for Xbox One, but I also believe that's cross-platform play. So yeah, you gotta get that. You gotta get that on the Windows Store. So you need specifically the Windows Store, and there's a whole slew of problems with that. But anyways, yeah, so fighting games on PC, mostly going to be on Steam. They are pretty visible now, and I will say that's a good thing. It's a good thing that the populations are growing, kind of, but here we go. We're going to start talking about why fighting games on PCs fucking suck. No matter how much visibility they get, they still are never going to have the population of the console versions. Not only that, but the console versions tend to be just better. They're made for consoles, so the ports are always going to be most likely just bad, just worse, or whatever word you want to use, just all in all not as good. Now sometimes, like I know with, I think Naruto Shippuden 3 Full Burst, we actually were able to do a little bit of modding, kind of, sort of, and it ran pretty okay. It was actually okay. But then after that, the game that came after that, number 4, I think, was just not great. It wasn't that great. There is a couple other games that just, like Mortal Kombat X, just really fucking slandered the name of fighting games, the ports on PC. And yeah, Mortal Kombat X was pretty much garbage for like the first year. I actually bought that game day one, and I was tremendously disappointed. Anyway, so there's a lot of fighting games that the ports are just bad. They're just bad. So on PC, most likely, they're just not going to be good. Now, that's normally, I wouldn't mention that, but it is so prolific that the ports are bad and worse on PC that I have to mention it. And even then, normally, maybe I would let it slide, because a good game is going to have a good port, right? So I think maybe Guilty Gear is actually pretty good on PC. Now, that's still a bad thing, though, okay? Even if just a few games are good ports, because there is that stigma that they're mostly bad ports, and they're mostly not great, and they actually cost a lot of money. They really do, and that's actually another topic, but it's really hard for people to get into fighting games, period, and then the price it costs, and then the stigma that maybe it's not going to be a good port, and even if the game does have good reviews, which sometimes they do, it's still not quite enough to get people into the games. And so the second point, other than just being generally bad ports, is because of all the stigma, well, the populations aren't that great. Of course, it's actually a lot easier for people to play on consoles because you already have really good compatibility with fighting sticks, with the gamepads, especially if you're on PS4. I think most people play competitively fighting games on PS4 except for Killer Instinct because it's not on PS4. But yeah, the PlayStation 4 controller is like the fighting gamepad. It's pretty freaking decent. Not only that, but PS4 is pretty cheap. All the games run swimmingly, like they should run almost perfectly on the PS4. They're fighting games. They don't need too much... You know, they don't need too much oomph to kind of just handle everything on the screen, unless maybe you're playing something like Dragon Ball, fucking, who knows, Hyper Kamehameha shit. Sometimes maybe that can bog it down, but for the most part, the one thing that really hinders these fighting games isn't going to be the graphics, okay? So you can totally play on a cheap console, and here's another point about how cheap fighting games are. You can purchase a fighting game, let's say Street Fighter V, okay? You can purchase it maybe even for $60 day one. And then you can go to GameStop and return it. You can trade it, you can sell your game, and so it's not really like you paid a full $60 for that. However, on PC, for Steam download only, yeah, they're pretty much fucking stuck with that. You just spent $60 on a game that might be broken, that might not have any population within a month, that will probably not be competitive on the platform that you're playing it on, and just, oh my god, just so many problems. So that is a big issue, absolutely. Now, another issue, and this is kind of more the fault of just fighting games overall, is that generally fighting games tend to be kind of like sports games, as in, or like Call of Duty. Well, I guess it's kind of an esport, right? Is that every single year they come out with a new version of the game, and sometimes, a lot of the times, historically, you would have to buy this whole new version, you know, to be competitive, to actually play with everybody else, because everyone else is going to go to that new game. Now, that happened to me personally playing the Naruto games, because I was getting into them, they're fun, but now everyone moved on to the very, very new one, but really they didn't add too much, so I didn't feel like spending $60 again on PC, but now, especially because nobody plays on PC, you know, generally, most people moved over to the new game. Now I literally cannot find a match, and I spent $60 on this game. I barely have been able to play it, and the story mode's garbage. It's not that great. Anyways, that's kind of a fault of the game, but the overall port of that game is just not good. Now, I'm not going to complain about specific games, really, because a lot of these issues do kind of spread out. Now, oh yeah, I will say, Mortal Kombat has actually released Mortal Kombat XL. Now, I don't know what that's about, but yeah, fighting games love doing these new versions, right? Like Street Fighter used to do like 2, and then Street Fighter 2 like Turbo, and then like Alpha fucking Omega, I don't know, dude. Like, there's so many different versions for these different fighting games. Now, I know that they are turning or tuning down that, you know, the overall industry is kind of slowing down just a little bit on that. Normally, whenever you buy these new editions, it's just like you're buying the base game, but you're also getting all the DLC at the same time. And it's just kind of a way to re-promote the game, you know, kind of like a re-release, but it's not a new title. And that is a good thing. That's what I want. However, I would really think, and I feel that it would be really great for fighting games if they honestly transition to free-to-play. These sport games that have consistent updates, that have consistent DLC that you need to purchase and buy into cosmetic or new characters or otherwise. In fighting games, since you're only playing as single characters, it's really not pay to win, you know, to have new characters on, you know, added to the roster and that they cost money. I think that's kind of fine. That's cool. It's been done for a while. I don't think many people complain about it. It's very cheap anyways. But it really doesn't make sense that we have to, like, every year or every other year is buy $60 and then all this DLC, and then the next year we got to get a whole new game and then a whole new DLC, and that's just ridiculous. And you cannot expect that from the PC audience, which has all these issues already and just the population is dead. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I really want to see for fighting games coming to PC. I want to see cross-platform play. There's absolutely zero reason why that can't happen. It's really, well, I mean, it's kind of, you know, to the fault of Sony and Microsoft, but I do believe Killer Instinct has crossplay, and I think Guilty Gear XR had crossplay, or maybe that was really just crossplay with PS3 and PS4. But we really should get more crossplay opportunities in multiplayer and specifically competitive games that really rely on that multiplayer aspect, because these fighting games have garbage single player. I haven't played a good single player since, I don't know, Soul Calibur 2, dude. Soul Calibur 2 had a really good single player. I played it for the single player. But anyways, these games need to have cross-platform play because we need the population up and running. Now, if you have more population, then maybe you can have the games be a little bit cheaper. Either, like, you know, it's $60 and then free DLC later on, or maybe you come out as a free-to-play game and then you do the DLCs. I really think a lot of people want the boxed versions, though, you know, especially since they play on consoles. So $60 but free DLC, I think, is the way to go. I think that'd be pretty amazing. Yeah, wow, I didn't think I was going to talk this much about it, but I think there's a lot of issues also that maybe it's not really the fault of any single person, but there's a whole lot of faults just spread out, okay? So I think I mentioned that fighting sticks are more compatible more often on PS4 or, you know, just consoles, period. That, you know, that could be like to the fighting sticks kind of fault. It's to, you know, certain fighting games, just they're not programmed quite right, or the port glitches out, or maybe it's just fucking Steam fucking up, because I don't know, man. Hey, Steam did just enable PS4 compatibility for the PlayStation 4 DualShock, so heck yeah, that's hype. So I'll be playing some fighting games with that. But yeah, it's kind of the fault of a lot of different people's. Sometimes they half work, you know, sometimes they only work at 90% capacity. You know, there's a whole lot of reasons that fighting games just are very uncomfortable to really transition and get into on PC. Now, I have played a lot of them, actually, fighting games that are very popular, or were very popular. So Skullgirls was really cool. I played that on PC. Mortal Kombat X. I've also played, we got Rivals of Aether, which I demoed out. We've also got Brawlhalla. Brawlhalla is a fantastic game on PC. It is a Smash Bros. Like game. And I really think that there definitely should be more PC sort of like born and bred fighters. So we had Rising Thunder coming out, but it got bought out by Tencent. So maybe we're going to see a League of Fighters type of game, League of Legends fighting game coming out from that. But that was supposed to, that was being demoed out on PC there, and it was supposed to be like a very interesting and new take on the fighting game genre. It just really sucks. Now, and in closing, guys, I will say that generally, for some fucking reason, I have no idea why, I feel like it should be the opposite, but the netcode for consoles seems to be so much more consistent. And maybe it is because the consoles themselves are generally the same. The performance is identical generally. I don't know about this generation because we have multiple different kinds of console, but whatever. So maybe the netcode is a little bit easier. Plus, they are using like Xbox servers and PlayStation servers, which you do pay for like, what, $7 a month or something like that? So maybe that's why netcode is better. But for some reason on PC, which we should be able to have our own servers, and fuck peer-to-peer, dude. Peer-to-peer is garbage. And then actually have like really good netcode and stuff. And we should have more availability being on PC, but we don't. And, the ports are bad, the netcode's bad. Even if the netcode is good on console, it's going to be bad on PC. And it just sucks, man. If for every reason why fighting games could be bad, and sometimes they're not that great, it's just so much worse on PC. So Street Fighter V, netcode isn't amazing, it's not perfect. Go on PC, probably unplayable to some people. Anyways, sometimes it's the reverse. Sometimes it really is the reverse, but it's just all sorts of random, and it just seems like the fighting game community hasn't really properly adjusted to PC gaming. And I think it's really because it's very much a console experience, especially since you're going to LAN parties playing these fighting games. You can bring your console in much easier than your desktop PC. Maybe you could play on a laptop? Maybe? I don't know. Anyways, and it's just like you are going to be playing with the console gamepads, or you're going to be playing on your fighting sticks, and it's just overall like it was an arcade scene, and now it's kind of a console scene, and maybe we can transition to an all-around scene, We just need that cross-platform play, and we need developers to take ports a lot more seriously as a whole. But right now, yes, there are some good fighting games on PC. A lot of them had rocky starts, but there are some that are really, really fun. I like Brawlhalla. Mortal Kombat isn't so bad on PC anymore. There's Killer Instinct, but is that where the crowd is? Is that where the population is? And in a multiplayer game, we need that population. The answer is no. It's mostly on consoles. It's mostly on PS4. So that's a big problem. It's going to take a long time. It's going to move slow like a glacier, but I think slowly but surely, we are going to get that cross-platform play. We're going to have more devices that are more capable of playing on, PCs and different games, and we're going to be able to play fighting games the way we want to, when we want to, where we want to, with whom we want to, but it's going to take a long time because, fuck it, dude, fighting game community is pretty hard-headed, and so are its developers. So those are my problems with fighting games on PCs. They fucking suck. There's almost no point in playing them. However, if you do want a few that are pretty populated, I guess I could say, you can play Killer Instinct on Windows 10. I believe it's cross-platform. You should be able to do that. Also, Brawlhalla. Brawlhalla is pretty awesome. Now, if you can get a sale for Mortal Kombat XL, maybe try it out. Maybe do that. But honestly, its port wasn't that great at the beginning. It's a little bit better now. And I'm sure there's some others if you guys want to mention in the comments below. But thanks for watching, guys. I really do hope you guys have fun. And expect some fighting game footage from me in the future, especially with EVO around the corner. And I don't know. I'm pretty hype about it. So yeah, have fun, guys. And I'll see you in the next one.